Good, happy Thursday evening, April 23rd, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Thursday evening, so let's begin. First up, 3 new COVID-19 deaths related to institutional outbreaks in New Hampshire, officials say. 1,670 known coronavirus cases in New Hampshire, officials say. New Hampshire officials on Thursday announced 3 additional deaths that they said are connected to COVID-19 outbreaks at long-term care facilities in the state. The deaths are related to several institutional outbreaks in the state. Dr. Benjamin Chan, the state epidemiologist, said. He said that 60% of the state's 51 COVID-19 deaths are related to the outbreaks. New outbreaks at the Derry Healthcare and Rehabilitation Center, where 8 residents and 5 staff members have tested positive for COVID-19, and the Pleasant Valley Nursing Center in Derry, where 4 residents and 3 staff members have been diagnosed, were announced by Lori Shipperton, Commissioner of the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services. Shipperton said also provided new numbers about some of the state's other outbreaks at long-term care facilities. Of note, 100 cases have been identified at the Easter Seals facility on Zachary Road in Manchester, and at least 80 have been reported at Hanover Hill Healthcare Center in Manchester. Officials this week ramped up testing at long-term care facilities in Hillsborough and Rockingham counties, which has led in part to an increase in the number of new cases in the state and at facilities in recent days. Health officials said the state is testing nearly twice as many people each day as it was a week ago. We plan to continue to ramp up that, Chan said. The numbers will increase. Shipperton did say that some facilities haven't seen a positive COVID-19 test for several days, but it takes a while for an outbreak to be considered over at a facility. It takes several weeks of having no positive tests to be able to clear a facility from an outbreak, Shipperton said. Chan also announced that there were now 1,670 known cases in New Hampshire, a net increase of 82 from the previous day. Chan announced there were 84 new positive tests. Officials previously told WMUR that total case numbers might fluctuate slightly day to day because additional investigation about a patient's home might move the case to another state's total, for example. As of Thursday, 218 patients in the state have required hospitalizations at some point during their illness. And now let's take a look at your COVID-19 in New Hampshire, what you need to know information. And here's a look at that for all of you. There are 1,670 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. 856,209 number of people in the United States who have tested positive. 51 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 218 number of people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 47,272 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. This map of New Hampshire shows you where cases of COVID-19 are in towns and cities of New Hampshire. In Gilmington, 1 to 4 cases of COVID-19. This chart here, new cases each day in New Hampshire. In the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, new hospitalizations. And in the red are the deaths. Age groups. Sex, female and male. And risk information. Your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, and difficult breathing. How it spreads. And prevention tips. Be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. Number of Granite Staters filing for unemployment drops for second week. More than 19K new file claims for benefits. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
Many of you still need to be on the road right now. Toyota is here to help.
We're offering an incredible 0% on our most popular Toyotas. Plus, Toyota will defer your payments for up to 90 days.
Contact your local Toyota dealer to see how they can help. Toyota.
Graphic shows the reason for the optimism. Over the past 2 weeks, a steady decline in the number of new filings for unemployment, something that appears to be continuing.
These are 2 positive weeks that we have seen. The week that we are currently in, it continues with that decline in numbers.
Laver says they are also seeing a decline in the number of calls coming into their call centers. Still, the new numbers mean an additional 19,000 people are now out of work, and it's tough to pinpoint where they are coming from.
It could be different sectors. It could be that they had a delay in the impact. Maybe they were able to work for a few additional weeks.
Over the past week, some healthcare facilities have announced they are furloughing workers. Laver says those employees are starting to show up in the system.
We have seen a significant impact in the healthcare sector with not only hospitals, but our nursing facilities, assisted care, long-term care.
This week also saw the $600 stipends as part of the Federal CARES Act being delivered, and the state has paid out approximately $120 million. But back to the filing for new unemployment claims, Laver says he's not ready to say that New Hampshire has turned the corner.
We could have another spike in claims, so we want to be ready for that, but certainly good numbers with what we've seen today.
Well, the deputy commissioner says they've done a good job of clearing up a backlog of cases. He says they will keep the call centers open extended hours in order to answer people's questions and accept new filings. In Concord, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire congressional delegation says state to receive $17M in federal funds for COVID-19 testing. New Hampshire congressional delegation said the Granite State is set to receive about $17 million for COVID-19 testing and legislation expected to be voted on by the House Thursday afternoon. The $480 billion, which contained $25 billion for testing nationally, passed the Senate on Tuesday. Live on News 9 at 5:30 p.m., Dr. Benjamin Chan answers your coronavirus questions. Get answers to your questions about the virus. It spreads. That's at 5:30 p.m. on WMUR News 9. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Thursday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you for the Thursday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green and went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the red and went down. S&P 500 closed in the red and went down. Gold closed in the green and went up. Oil closed in the green and went up. U.S. 10-year closed flat. Euro/USD closed flat. And VIX closed in the red and went down. Stocks close flat after wild session as investors assess Gilead coronavirus treatment. Stocks were taken for a wild ride on Thursday that showed just how important finding a treatment for coronavirus is for Wall Street. It's draft day, everyone. Let's take a look at an inside look at the first ever virtual NFL draft. Let's take a look at that video from ABC News.
They've worked their whole lives for this moment.
With the first pick,
NFL dreams will come true at tonight's NFL draft, but minus the suits, the crowds, the walk across stage, the jerseys, and that commissioner moment that have come to define the annual event.
Even though the draft won't be like how we envisioned it, it's still going to be crazy just to be a part of it.
The COVID-19 pandemic means the NFL draft will have to go virtual. Draftees will still hear Commissioner Roger Goodell call their names, but from his basement and in their living rooms. So exactly how is this going to work? All 32 teams will be on a video conference together. And since team facilities are closed, the decision makers can't gather in their traditional war rooms to discuss picks. They'll have to do that remotely before ultimately passing along their pick to the commissioner who'll make the announcement. Top prospects like presumptive number one pick quarterback Joe Burrow of LSU were sent cameras and equipment to capture their reactions. And specialists have been working overtime to make sure there's enough broadband and security. What could go wrong?
it sounds like the plan for draft night is to wing it.
That is correct.
How are y'all going to do this?
We'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be a technical feat, okay? That's what we're going to call it. That's what it's going to get pulled off. And it's not going to be flawless, but it'll be exactly what we need.
A sports-starved country will get a look at the NFL future. And some players, like expected top pick Chase Young, are determined not to let anything ruin their big night.
I'm wearing my I got to look sharp. This still will be my day.
And they do have a draft-a-thon they're having tonight on some of their online properties, the NFL, to raise money for COVID-19 relief. And, of course, Robin, I know you're about to talk to the commissioner. A big tradition is he's booed when he comes out on stage. They do have a way for him to be virtually booed tonight, so I'm sure he appreciates me ending on that point, Robin.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And you can watch the NFL Draft live on ABC this evening. And thank you for watching this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Have a great rest of your Thursday evening. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night, everyone, and bye.